Hi, and welcome to Telepathic TV. This is television you watch with your third eye, and I'm Neville Johnston.
And I'm Mary Phelan, and our program is about raising our consciousness.
Raising consciousness, an excellent thing to do. And to raise consciousness is to change the way in which you think. And we have always changed the way in which we think, so that's not exceptional. The idea is to change the way in which you think to a thinking in a much bigger picture, and then the ability to sustain that. We've all seen people spend, $20,000 on some seminar, and 4 days later they're right back to the way they thought, maybe a little ahead, but not really. And that's because of the paper shredder that has become the contemporary mind, full of words that do not serve us. The Language Codes book points out many of these words. And to change all that. So one method by which we may change is our keeping of time. And the Mayans have brilliant modeling on the keeping of time, called the Mayan calendar, specifically the dream spell calendar. And today in Mayan is?
7 Eb. Eb is the tribe of the human, or the humanitarian. And tone 7s are resonant tones. It's a day for perfecting and chopping away anything that does not serve. So it's a really, really powerful day to claim who you are and to be kind and loving with each other and just not put up with things that are not like that. You may have noticed things walk away from you on this particular day and gone, oh gee, oh gee. Those things walked away simply because they did not resonate with you, and that's perfectly okay. And we are at some point in the future going to do yet another show on guilt, or more specifically how not to be guilty. But tonight's show is for you, the audience. What we'd like you to do is to call in and talk about thinking that has not served you. Let me place that in contemporary English. Call in and tell us about things that piss you off. It's that simple. Things you don't like. Things that have happened in your life that have left a very sour tone. Okay? And we will explain enough bigger picture to put that in perspective for you. Or in other words, what the blessing in it was, since everything is a blessing. Almeen Barton said one time, in life, everything is either a lesson or a gift, and in the end, all lessons are gifts, so everything truly is a gift. So what is the gift in your situation? And so whatever might be troubling you, whether that be a divorce or something at your work or traffic or your landlord, whatever that might be, or a regret, call in and let's find the divinity within that, because what this does is it helps all of us to know how it is to begin that search engine to look for what's right rather than look for what's wrong, which is what we're trained to do otherwise. And hence, you know, you're going to find whatever you look for. I believe it was Richard Bach said, argue for your limitations and they are yours. You know, look for the bad stuff or the disheartening stuff in your life, and that's what you're going to find. And we human beings, for whatever reason that is, tend to fight anything being good. As though that's going to somehow cost us points, and then we won't have as many points in what God nonsense that is thought on this planet. And we can. The point of this program is to assist us in a sustaining, permanent way to do away with these things that hang around our neck as though made of lead or iron, and take on the gossamer that is the truth of who it is we are, because we are divine light beings, every last one of them. There's a direct mathematical formula that would state that there is the tragic happening, a length of time, and then the recognizing of that as a blessing. And that length of time is in mathematical ratio to how guilty you feel about it. It is that simple. If you did not feel guilty, period, everything would be a blessing right in front of you now. That is so true. If you are still harboring guilt about something, you cannot release it. Guilt is the thing that hangs it on. When people talk about karma, coming back to, you know, good and bad karma, what that is where you felt guilty, that event will stick with you. You cannot release it. You cannot extract the wisdom from it and let go of the event until you stop feeling guilty about it. Also, anger and feelings of injustice do similar things. And that's why it's important to understand and learn the techniques to see the divinity, the lesson, and the gift in all situations so that you can release them. And in that way, all of us are capable of having instant absolution from all karma or all sin. Because that's all it is. Or ascension, it has been called.
We do a class Sunday, coming up day after tomorrow, a class called Consciously Creating Your Life, in which we go over the tools of how to get this thinking to change right there in your noggin, okay, your cognitator, as I like to call it, which will give you a new name for it in case you didn't have that one. Anyhow, the point being that we are trained to believe in guilt and hang on to it as though it was worth something, okay, and to hang on to it until it pulls us under the ground. And then we come back again, reincarnated as yet again a blank slate, but not that blank, because we've seen things dog people, tag people through lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, till in one way, one lifetime or another, we get critical mass to dismiss something that does not serve us. When was the last time you simply let go of something and it never popped up again? When was it? No, it never happened, that's right. Okay, and what is it, valuable? Who is it? Al Pacino in The Devil's Advocate said, guilt is like a bag of bricks. All you gotta do is set it down.
Yeah, that's great.
And he's right.
Well,
the devil always tells you the truth,
we do
right?
set down things, like compliments, like feelings of, fulfillment. I mean, we'll set those down very easily. Those are the things that we can carry with us. If you look at things as being luggage that you're carrying around, why would you carry around things that don't make you happy, that don't serve you, that are too heavy? Set them down. And I was telling one of my clients this morning that you've really just got to walk out of that. We talk about low frequency, high frequency. What we're talking about is if you walk in a room and everybody is fighting in that room, the only way you're going to get away from that is to walk out of the room. To sit in a room and attempt to change all the fighting going on in there, all you're doing is engaging it and keeping it more real in your reality. Yeah. Walk out of the room. It's okay. And all that really stops us from doing that is permission to do this. Permission from ourselves.
Exactly. And we don't know how to do that.
So we can even say, I give myself permission to walk away from such situations that are no longer serving me, and taking with that my wisdom.
Pick up the phone, call us, tell us the last thing that stuck to you. That is the term. The last thing, and don't be self-conscious at all. Bear in mind that if you call in and talk about something, 1,000 other people are going to watch the show and go, yep, yeah, that's it. Yep, that's something like that happened to me.
Yes,
so
it's very
be bold, be willing to serve others.
It's really the technique of looking, okay, what was the lesson underneath this? Because when you see it, it's just like I've said this a million times, it's like the messenger at the door. They're going to knock on the door until you answer. If you don't answer, they're going to ring louder and louder and louder. So get the lesson before it gets very loud, and you don't have to go through these troubling things in your life. You're done.
Yeah, that was called the cosmic 2x4 not so long ago. That particular expression seems to have lost popularity, but nonetheless true. And the idea was you're supposed to deal with it before the cosmic 2x4 knocks your head off. And here's someone willing to deal with it.
Yeah, excellent. Okay.
All right.
It's going to be transferred in momentarily here.
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. I have transfer music. Wouldn't that be good?
That would be good.
Okay. Pardon me, the band seems to be out at the moment.
Do we still have? Okay. Well, it'll come in its own perfect timing.
Yeah, as everything does, and that's another whole thing. And you've told the story many times about realizing that the stop sign was either an effortless turn or a complete slamming into a wall, just by the fact that you were thinking about it ahead of time, as I'm going to get into a difficulty there. Instead of thinking that anymore, you changed your thought to, that will be effortless.
Yes.
Shung, and it was every time.
Yes.
And to hang on to that, the sustain, to keep it there always, that is the signature of the master, because the entire base rewriting of the programming that spit out, this is going to be difficult, pardon the word difficult, okay, that changing that base programming is what this programming is about.
Well, changing your thinking will change your reality.
Oh, yeah.
It's profound.
And we've always seen this.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
take a snapshot of what's going on. I mean, you can look around you, because your life is an absolute reflection to what's going on in your head. And if you look in your head, you'll see an explanation to everything going on in your life.
Yeah.
And so start listening in on that conversation. And how many old tapes are you playing of other people telling you of your limitations?
Well, the average person, or us specifically. No, this is the whole thing. We have, let's say that someone in kindergarten did something unfair to you. Okay. Well, kindergarten's a little early. Let's say middle school.
Is that our call?
I believe it is. Someone in middle school did something unfair to you.
Hello?
And you can still recall it. What's up with that? Hi, caller. What's your name, please? You know your name, and I know you know your name. Speak it, please.
Nope, I guess that's okay.
I
think they're just working out a little tech here. That's fine.
That's fine. All right. But as we were saying, something happened in high school that is still haunting. Oh, high school hit the memory. Okay. That is still haunting you. Okay? It's still writing code that is creating your reality today. Oh no, I just remember something that happened in high school. That's not creating code, that's not writing my life today. Yes, it is. Or it wouldn't have come up.
Okay, is that it?
Are we all set?
No?
We're still playing with the phone lines.
That's okay.
This is the great joy and beauty of live television. This is live
so please
television.
do continue to call. Because we'll get through eventually.
continue writing these principles for you. We really do have to change the base way we think, because what passes for thinking on our planet at this time is this incredible attachment to outcome. I must have that, or there's something the matter, which is a fear, okay? And then when you don't get it, pardon me, of course you don't get it, okay? Then what do? Why, you blame. Isn't that clever? It's someone else's fault that I'm not happy. Oh. No, enough of that. We can switch that off like that. We really can. That method of thinking does not serve us.
Well, you know, the media tells us so much. I don't think people realize what the nature of hypnosis is. And I would suggest to everybody, and we'll probably do a show on this topic coming up, research what hypnosis is, because every time a commercial comes on, anything repetitive, anything with music, you're in a state of hypnosis. If you're driving in the car and the little lines are going past, you're in a state of hypnosis, meaning that you're easily suggestible. And there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you're the one doing the suggesting and you're the one in charge. But the media tells us often how to think. And we really have to start taking power and sovereignty or sovereignty over our own thought streams.
Absolutely.
And tell it where to go instead of it directing, the tail wagging the dog.
Another trick of hypnosis is to speak in a monotone. How many people out there have fallen asleep during a meeting because the boss was speaking in an ongoing monotone, and you just kind of just drifted right out, and then you're made guilty for not being there, and then you are unbelievably subject to suggestion, okay? I've seen this done in incredible ways all the time, and it wakes me up these days. I've changed the way in which I think. I had go ahead.
Finish your thought and then
I had someone ring the phone and said, "This is absolutely free." And I go, "You're lying to me, dude. You're lying to me." He goes, "Well, what do you mean? How could you tell I was lying to you? You said it was absolutely free. If it was free, you would have said it was free, but you said it was absolutely free. Now, I know you've put a lot of people to sleep by saying it was absolutely free, but this one you really woke up by saying it was absolutely free." Switch the lights right on, because this manipulation in the language, again, the Language Codes book, is something that we're all allowed to get and understand. Now, I've had a lot of people have read the Language Codes book and still use the word need, still use the word should. My whole point there is to understand, in the Language Codes book it is explained, that the universe models to our command, and the command is often in the form of words. So if you say you want something, you've commanded it to separate from you. And
well, I was leading up to something with the media, the news, and then we'll get back to the language codes, because I think that is an important topic, but just to get this thought out there. The news is something that we have told people on the past shows many, many times to just turn the news off. It's way too much inundation of stress and anxiety, and we are not designed to have that. And many years ago, when I was actually still a teenager, I wished to start a good news station, because no matter how disheartening it may seem with man against man and woman against woman and all those different variations, we still have billions of times more beautiful, wonderful events that we do and that happen to us than we do horrifying, traumatic things. One case in point, this happened a couple of years ago in New York City. A police officer was instructed to go arrest this homeless man for sleeping in a parking garage. And he refused to do it because he says, I will not arrest somebody that has nowhere else to go. So the officer was suspended without pay, and he was starting to, have financial troubles. So a bunch of homeless people in New York all collected tin cans and bummed money on the street and raised $3,000 and gave to this police officer and their family for what he did. And so when we start assuming that everybody is out to get us, then, which is what the news tells us, which is what the media tells us very often, then everything becomes suspicious and we start living in an unsafe universe. And remember, what we place our attention on is what becomes animated. So place your attention on the beautiful things that are happening, the lessons behind the so-called traumas, and then you start getting at what the true source is.
Yeah. The media is always delivering that message of hopelessness. Yeah, think about it. If you were going to suppress the people, let's say you were, I don't know, whatever they called the leader of Rome during the Roman Empire, and you wanted to suppress a whole quadrant or a country you'd recently conquered, first thing you'd do is tell the people that there was no one going to help them. And that's what the media does every day. Any news item that you've ever seen doesn't have anything to do with you, even when they tell you it's your children. Doesn't have anything to do with you, and there's nothing you can do about it other than to become quite upset.
You want me to get it?
Okay. And this is a test phone call.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Hey.
What can we do for you?
Well, I just kind of wondering if I could get a general reading.
All right.
Okay.
And we'll see what's going on.
We'll do a general reading for a general.
Okay. And we're just...
Okay. This is good because that means the phone is working so that we can get everybody calling in. Okay, the first card, We Are the World. It's talking about a time in your life where you're starting to take a step out there and say, what do I really want in my life, rather than what path have I prepared for myself. It's more like what calls to my heart, who am I really? And then the second card talks about letting go of things. We were talking about that earlier in the show, letting go of the past. Don't let the past write your present, because the past is gone. Find out what the rules for living are right in this moment. And life becomes incredible, an unfoldment, like this awareness card. This woman behind the veil, that shadow, looked very imposing and frightening, but when it was melted away with her knowledge, because knowledge burns away all fear, she realized that underneath everything was her talking to her, and she became extremely enlightened. So by releasing anything that happens and seeing each moment as new, you start seeing the reflection of you in the waters where you are right now.
Wow.
Okay.
Thank you, Mary.
Well, thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
All right, yeah. As we were saying, if you were calling before, please call. The line is clear now. And to talk about something that's upset you so we can rewrite the way in which you think about it. We're not talking brain surgery. We're talking about, we'll just present bigger pictures so that you can see how that is not quite the volume that it sounded like. And another thing that the media does constantly is to, how do you say that, distract us. That's kind of the point.
Yes.
If you're really upset about this and that, you're not thinking much. So if, I don't know, let's say all of us decided to just stop paying the rest and toll, there wouldn't be any more rest and toll.
Okay.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Hi, caller. What's your name, please?
Marianne, and I turned on your show accidentally, and you were talking directly to me.
Oh, excellent.
Thank you for saying so.
I'm calling for a reading. This is exciting because I would never have chosen Channel 69, but I was supposed to.
Well, good. Yes, this is
Oops,
Spirit.
what?
You still there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, great. Okay.
This is the way spirit guides often work, is to, and it's not just this show, it's the method by which spirit guides work.
Exactly.
You'll just be walking along and just that little thing opens up, and then you get this pathway
or one
up.
little phrase or something like that. And that's the synchro-destiny is what I think Deepak Chopra calls it, and I love that because I have felt that for many years. Okay, the first card, the innocence, this is talking, you know, the joy of the Fool card, which is the innocent walking out on his journey. This is when the Fool comes full circle and is going up the spiral and has wisdom and innocence at the same time. It's like, wow, you know how we always say, if I knew then what I know now, and if I had the freedom I had then. This is where it's really crystallizing for you. And I feel you have that nature. You're a very ancient soul being. And this experiencing the mindfulness of each moment of your life is a sacred act. And start living that way because you are getting little messages. As a matter of fact, I'm seeing it as like, I don't know if you saw the movie The Matrix, how it shows that green stuff going, and then you focus in and it's letters and it's creating words and stuff. I feel like if you just sat still, even in your chair, you would get so many messages all around you. They're everywhere. There's words between thoughts, and it's really like a zip file unfolding. So just and then the abundance card is exactly what I'm saying. You know, there's 2 books in that abundance, because you know, abundance comes in the form of knowledge and friends and spirituality and all these different things. Just feels like this is a big vortex of this for you.
Oh, and I think discovering your show by accident and hearing some things I needed to hear.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
From Neville. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And as I was, the phone calls have begun. Just wanted to add the other great agenda of the media.
Hi, can you hold on just 1 second?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, just the other great agenda of the media is to make you feel unsafe, and the word safe itself is completely and totally a lie. It is impossible not to be safe. It cannot be done. But that is the parcel of the media.
And we buy more when we feel scared. So.
Yeah,
okay.
And that's proven. Hi, caller. What's your name, please?
Rina. Hi.
Hi.
Mary and Neville, how are you?
Well, good.
How are you?
What can we do for you?
Oh, it's good, and the dream's still there. Remember you mentioned to me before to study numerology.
Yes.
So I try to find somebody who know about numerology. Is in Maryland, Vanessa Lord. I wonder if you know them.
No, but I know an excellent numerology book that you might wish to check out. So
I did, but it's hard for me to understand. You know, it's not simple. But when I went to this lady, she explained it very, very simple, and I was surprised. This is for Neville, and she also mentioned about my past life being a medicine man. So I, and including that, she said that I was in the high priestess in Isis temple or something. I don't know.
The past life history.
So my question would be,
we are.
Her question.
Yeah.
Please explain to me what is the purpose of kid reincarnation to this earth, back, the same duty again, like in the past as a medicine person or a person that died.
Okay, what this person was doing was tapping into a series of your past lives. We are about to, or will have within a month or so, a past life event staged in Reston. Come and attend it. It will do you a great deal of good for you to see your own past lives. When someone tells you about your past lives, that can be very useful information. This is true. And seeing your past lives for yourself, which is what goes on during this event, or you could come individually to go back into your past lives. Yeah. Yes. Same thing with the lines on your hand. If you want to come and we teach palmistry only very rarely these days, but if you wanted to come to have your palm read, which would just be about your palm in particular, that could be arranged as well.
That's a very good thing to bring up, because we are just actually a word within this larger paragraph. When we live this life, we think of ourselves as being, this is it, this one word, and it becomes a lot more understandable when we see this larger pattern of past lives. So it's an excellent thing to explore. Yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Quite a bit.
I'm sorry. You have not answered my question. What's the purpose of this keep going back
I
to
just
this
cannot
earth?
hear.
Speak loudly, please.
What is the purpose of a person keep going back to the earth? with the same mission over and over and over
Oh,
again.
okay.
Oh, okay.
I got it. Okay.
Right.
So what she's talking about is much like in the movie Groundhog Day. Bill Murray was going through the same day over and over and over, and that can be equated, it's a very good illustration of past lives. He was still learning that same lesson. Lessons, like everything else, each lesson is actually the same lesson, and it's how to love and how to love ourselves unconditionally. And so it's not really like, oh no, it's supposed to be 3 times and I'm supposed to get it, I'm doing wrong. The experiences is what brings our wisdom. And so we come and we learn our wisdom through many different angles on that issue of love.
Mm-hmm.
And we have another call
right.
back behind
Thank
us.
you very much.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
And another, just more clarity on this is that when we're complete with 3rd dimension, we begin 4th
Hi,
dimension.
caller. Can you hold just
So
1 minute?
The more rapidly we can get the learning, or actually remembering, represented by 3rd dimension. Okay, and that's very simple, to triangulate everything. We speak a polar language, so that I understand. So that distracts us from thinking in trinities. But the quicker you get to thinking in trinities, the quicker you can release yourself from 3rd dimension and go on to other dimensions.
That's great.
Hi, caller. What's your name, please?
Maria, and I'm sorry about my voice. I've kind of got a cold.
Please speak loudly.
I'm trying. I have laryngitis.
Ah.
So.
Okay. Well, state your question very succinctly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Very recently, one of my friends had some legal trouble.
Uh-huh.
And I'm wondering if this is that cosmic 2x4 that's going to smack him in the head and give him a direction and life change, or if it's just...
Mm-hmm.
And you know, how it's going to resolve. If I could get a kind of general reading on that, I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
Okay, and then I'll comment after you've done with that. Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's interesting if we think of everything as truly a brilliant message. Every facet of our life, every step we take is. And just assume that. So this is definitely, it seems to be the card of the day and also the topic, to release the past. And it does seem like your friend was hanging on to things that would be better just to, you know, justice equals peace. It doesn't mean this person doing that and that person doing that. It just means to release it, to let go of it. And that really does, I think that is the message. And also, look, I shuffled these cards, and these are 2 of the same cards I pulled before. And right now, figuring out who they are, it feels like your friend has a lot of ties tied to other people and other circumstances. And it's really taking place inside, and that they would be well served to just say, okay, I'm clearing all this out of my life, and do a clearing ceremony, and maybe even get some sage and put that. And this politics card can talk about, you know, people having one thing and being something else underneath. And so I think this is actually, even if it looks like something unpleasant, I think it's taking the, lancing the boil, so to speak, so that healing can begin. And it is a 2x4, and I think it's time to start getting some of these people and circumstances out of their life. So that they can start moving forward.
Exactly as you said, it is about the person clinging to the past. So the outcome, which is spoken of in the cards, the outcome will be in direct ratio to how fluid this person is about changing. The less fluid they are, the harder the 2x4 will hit. It's that simple. It is really that simple. If the person just simply got it, I don't think there would be any further litigation involved. If they just said, oh yeah, pardon me, scusa me, as Mussolini said right before he died, dia scusa me. Yeah. Oh,
well,
okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll send healing for your throat.
Yeah. Throat chakra is very
Okay,
interesting.
we'll have another call come
we'll
in
be doing
here.
a throat chakra.
Yeah, it's all on the web. So
Yeah, all of our classes are on the web. Very
at
well put.
telepathictv.com.
Hi, caller. What's your name, please?
Oh, my name is Bev.
And what's your question?
I didn't really have a question. I just wanted a reading.
Okay.
But I just wanted to say, like the other callers, I did stumble across you guys, and it was like you were talking to me. I think you were very talented, and this is a great show.
Oh, that's
Well,
so
thank you
sweet.
very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And while you're pulling the cards, I just want to reiterate that this is a program about profoundly and in a sustained changing the way in which we think. So we are asking people to call in and say what it is that has recently pissed you off, so we can give you a bigger picture of it so that you can deal with it in a different way than being angry and burying it in your cellular structure.
Okay. Well, our first card, this child stands behind a gate and he thinks he's shut out from this rainbow world on the other side, but if he looks closely, that lock is not locked. And it may have taken you a little while to step out and become who you are, but now you know and you never have to go back. And the second card, the receptivity, is talking an open mind. And an open mind means an open heart. And how we are supposed to make our decisions is let it pass through our heart, not our brain, because the brain is sort of like the birth canal of our creativity, and it clamps down at times. So it's just bypass that and go right to the heart and say, is this person, are these situations right for me? And your heart will tell you. It knows. It knows. And the mind card, even though this looks like a creepy card, what that says is that when we run it through our mind, it's funny because I just said it, when we run it through our mind over and over and over again, and the solution does not exist there, it's like a paper shredder and we get more and more confused rather than less confused. But if we run it through our hearts, there never happens that way.
No doubt involved when you run it through
your
your
heart. You're a very,
heart.
very intuitive person. You've got a lot of water energy and a lot of heart energy around you. And don't let people tell you that you have to close that down, because that is a beautiful gift that you have. So keep that open.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would say that an open mind is a mind that's open to change. And what any of us might do is to write on a piece of paper, perhaps one right in front of you right now, with a pen that may be in your hand or very close right at the moment. Write, I change effortlessly by joy. I change effortlessly by joy. And anytime anything, you were saying about the mind being the birth canal of our creativity and it clamps down, that clamping down is referred to in English as a headache, literally. When you clamp down your brain, that's a headache. So next time you get a headache, write, I change effortlessly by joy. Write it until the headache is gone, which will not take too very long. Because the whole point of the headache is that you're refusing to change.
Yeah, because change is something that is our greatest friend and our greatest enemy at the same time. How many times have you heard people say, oh, you've changed, you know, like it's something shameful, or, oh, you never change, like being the same.
Yeah.
And we crave the excitement of new in each moment, and yet we are afraid of it. We get insecure when it happens. So really the answer, the balance point, is to find the infinite uniqueness of every moment.
Yeah.
And we're never bored, and yet we're always secure.
And brings up the code enemy. Enemies means the inner me. Yeah. And a very great bumper sticker, which doesn't exist yet but will now, is a quote from Jean-Luc Picard in The Next Generation, where he says, the only enemy is war. Could we all write that on our bumpers and graffiti it on walls?
That was my idea.
Yes,
I was going to have a bumper sticker printed that said, the only enemy is war. That was my idea. I was going to actually do that.
Excellent idea. Absolutely. Let's convene such a thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very good. Okay. Yeah, so that we can get over this ridiculousness that it's an unsafe world, that's insane, and that there's such a thing as an enemy. Now, if everyone on the planet Earth knew that enemy meant inner me, in other words, that person over there that's the enemy is really part of me, the Mayan greeting in Lak-Ek, hi, you are the other me, okay? If we all got that, there would never again be a war on this planet, because how could you shoot you, even if you were suicidal? Yeah, it just would not work that way.
Well, for us to shoot each other, we are suicidal because we are all one. And you can only love others to the extent you love ourselves, which we talk about many, many times. Love yourself, and the rest of the world will love you, and you will be able to love the rest of the world. Yeah. Because love is a state of consciousness. It's a state of being. And so you cannot love others and be in the state of not loving self. We have another call.
Yeah, you have a very good idea to make that a bumper sticker.
Yes.
The only enemy, the only war.
Yes,
the only enemy is war.
Here we go.
Yeah. Hi, caller. What's your name, please?
Hello?
Hello? My name is Veronica Jackson.
Hi,
okay, what's your question or statement of something that's upsetting you?
Everything.
Okay, we can do that.
Job, home, everything.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Okay.
I think I need a reading,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
No, that would be fine. And then after I'm done, you can state whatever you'd like.
Yeah, we
to
can go
have
with
for her
everything.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and it's so wonderful. Thank you to everyone that's calling. And please tell your friends about the show. Okay, first card, the Creator. This reminds us that, you know, everything going on in your life, and we say, okay, it's being created by us. And that's not cause to say, oh gosh, I'm messing up, look what I'm creating. It's to say, okay, how is it that I'm feeling about myself that's causing me to create these things for me? And so it's time to, and look at this. I got this card again. I've shuffled it. Everybody in the studio, you know I've shuffled the cards. We got clinging to the past. It just seems, I think every reading tonight has had that. And so there's always like attracts like. So we're going to pull this in. So it's saying it's okay to let go. And I feel like these are people in your life that have been around for a while that are really dragging you down. And instead of saying, oh, I've got to keep them in my life, I feel like it's saying, I've got to love me, and that the universe, as Neville has said before, is filled with backup systems. And so just call backup systems to assist these people and circumstances in your life so that you can release them, because they will benefit as well as you. And then Patience card, talking about everything comes in its perfect timing and in its season. You can't rush it and you can't hold it back. All you can do is just be ready to accept it when it comes to you in the form of an opportunity. So just sit back. Something new, I feel, financially, career-wise, is on its way. And just wait for it to come and say, what is this, my current situation, teaching me about how I feel about me? And once you get it, it'll be changed like snapping your fingers.
Yeah. And as the original, what's troubling you, everything, it turns out that everything is on our side. It's simply a matter of time till we recognize it as a blessing. As we said earlier in this program, that amount of time is in direct mathematical ratio to how you feel guilty, how much you feel guilty about it. The more guilty you feel, the longer it takes. And another whole process for we, the human race, to realize is that, let's say that the person says, why is it always me? Now I would ask you, is that an observation? Is that a question? Is that a complaint? Or is that a command? Okay, and a correct answer is all four. And another correct answer, the one that serves you, the one we'd like to pay attention to, is that as soon as we complain about it, the universe, who is non-judgmental, proceeds to bring that into reality because it doesn't acknowledge it as a complaint, it views it as a command. So the more we complain, the worse it gets. As the Simpsons were so kind to phrase through the character of Bill Clinton, but nonetheless an accurate phrasing, complain until your dreams come true. And we have another call.
No, I was just, are we done?
Oh, are we all set?
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just thought I'd let the caller off the line so she could just listen through the TV.
I thought she had gone.
Nope.
So as we're
very
saying,
good.
this is a live call-in show, and this is the opportunity to find out how to change the way in which you think about something so it won't make you suffer
not
anymore.
only will it make you suffer, but it makes you sick.
Yes.
Our thoughts, every thought that you have, takes this elaborate system of hormonal, physiological, chemical components in your body and alters you every moment. A lot of fearful, stressful thoughts make your body very, very acidic, and you get sick. You get sick,
absolutely.
and it's an acidic body that grows all the cancer and diseases that that we carry around with us all the time. Stress. If I were to do that bumper sticker of war is the only enemy, I would say stress is the only disease. And if you can get rid of that, Deepak Chopra talked about this terrible set of experiments where they took rats and they put them in an aquarium of water, and they're not very adept swimmers, so they struggle and struggle and struggle, and they take them out right before they die of exhaustion. And as soon as they rest, they put them back in. And after 1 month of this, their organs had aged as if they had lived a full 2-year lifespan. Just think what happens to us every time we turn on the news, every time we hear about these little hooks that they get in those little ads. The news does is film at something is poisoning your kids at school. Film at 11. This kind of stuff.
Until 11,
and so you get this gut wrenching. That feel, that kind of cold, icy, acidic feel in your stomach.
Yeah.
That's
so Yeah, so the idea of stress is the engine in this particular scenario we're painting. So stress is the fear of being disapproved of. That's what stress is. So we got to ask you, who could disapprove of you? Who is the only person on this planet that could actually disapprove of you, that it would make any real difference? Who is that? Come on, who is it? Who is it? Okay, well, we'll let you think about that. You can call in with the answer, or however that works. And meanwhile, we'd love it if someone would like to call in and just speak a regret, and we'll show you how to relanguage that. Because as you keep it as a regret, it will eventually decrode. It will kill living cells in your brain, as I understand this premise, that people die of the way they think. No kidding, really. Oh, yeah. Okay, and I'm serious. If you're on the battlefield and you go, I'm going to get it, bang. That's what happens. We die of the way we think. We could also live. We could flower. We could bloom. We could be magnificent by the way in which we think. Nonetheless, we do live by the way in which we think, and this program is about profoundly and in a sustained manner changing the way in which we think so that we can be happy. Yes?
That's very true. Yeah. You know, not to change the subject, because we'd be happy if callers would like to still call in with that topic. I read something recently that I found very interesting, and it had to do with sunscreen.
Oh, yeah.
Which really shocked me, that the highest cancer in the United States is skin cancer, and that since the institution or the invention of sunscreen, it has skyrocketed. Skin cancer has. And no one has been able to explain why people that live in tropical countries that do not use sunscreen get no cancer, or very little cancer. But we in the United States are getting it over and over. And so one firm did like an analysis of the ingredients in sunscreen and said 5 ingredients in there are extremely carcinogenic.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't know that, because I had been using that and putting it on my kids, and I didn't know that. So I think that's something worth exploring, something very interesting. And it gets back to, we are really totally perfect. We don't have to go to doctors and dentists and all this. Oh, great, we have our next call. That's wonderful.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
And another thing that's gone on is the extreme thin-skinned that we've become. We Americans have become very thin-skinned because we're just constantly barraged by things that are annoying, so we can never handle that much. Hi, caller. What's your name, please?
My name is Shelley. Hello, Mary and Neville.
Hi, Shelley.
Hi. You asked a question if you said if anyone would like to call in.
Sure.
And the only one that can really,
disapprove
of us, and that is ourselves, basically.
Correct. Look at the power you have all of a sudden. Look, I mean, that's exponential. Do you understand the breath of freedom that put in your body? Nobody can disapprove of me but me.
And, you can take it a step further that we are all one anyway. So therefore we are completely perfect and we are not separate.
Right.
That's the way this works.
And what other people think of me is none of my business, and what I think of other people is none of their business. Because in this little game of separation of being individuals, we did it to have fun, to have joy, to experience reality, and to be able to experience ourselves with love in the form of other people.
And also we don't want to think bad about other people, because that, in a sense, is thinking bad about ourselves, because there's no separation.
That's right.
That's right.
So we need
So the next time someone's disparaging, you say, you better be nicer to you because you've forgotten I'm you.
Very good. May I have a reading, Mary?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, that is very good. I like that. And I use the exercise of picturing being them and being me, as if I really was, it was just 2 components of me, and it really helps.
Also, I heard that, praying for someone's wealth, health, and prosperity for a 2-week period, that someone that you really has burned you and resented you, because the resentment doesn't hurt anybody but yourself. It's helpful, because what you're doing basically is you're praying to release, you're praying for them, but what it does is releases you.
Yeah, well, what it does too is includes them with you.
Yeah.
They become part of you by you sending love, because they really always were a part of you that you weren't loving, and that's why they came into your life. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, our first card, integration. This is exactly what you've been talking about, including things within you in order to understand them. So you've done a lot of work. I just feel like you've done a lot of reading and you've done a lot of work. And that's a balancing of the yin-yang within us, which enables us to really take the next step. The Master card, as you can tell, doesn't come up all that often. And it talks about meeting somebody and being a mentor or finding a mentor, but it talks about your spirit guides coming and some very profound things. Have you done any work, well, I'll just let you ponder this rather than ask you, but I feel like if you have not done any work with like Babaji or Sai Baba, I feel like it's an Indian guru master.
Yeah. I know who he is,
okay.
Babaji.
Yeah, I feel like that's somebody that either, you know, is calling to you directly and just open up. Now this is stepping forward in time, and it's saying do not compromise who you are to be what other people expect you to be. And I know we all know that. And it's and what I have, the formula I put onto that card is, if it is not good for me and if it is not good for them, then it doesn't matter, it's not going to happen. And that if it's good for them and not me, it's not going to happen. It's got to be good for both of you, in other words. And let that be your rule, instead of saying, okay, well, I can sacrifice this because it's making them happy. We don't do that any more than we would say, okay, I'm going to do this just because it's making them, I'm going to do this even though it's making them unhappy. Mm-hmm. And just find that balance in your life, internally and externally.
Oh, absolutely. And another thing, there's, we on the planet are becoming God conscious. And at that point, for example, prayer turns out to actually represent the separation between us and the bigger picture. So you may also find that the language codes would do you a lot of good, because it sounds like you're at the point where the manifestation of your reality is not more than a thought away. And
I've heard where people have, instead of using the word prayer, use the word commune. And when I think of communing with God, it's just so much more powerful, and it
yes, it is. And
yeah, because you're having a conversation rather than being separate from them.
And still more powerful than that is the idea that it is a decision. Since everything that happens is God's will, okay, then there went the whole ball game that the church has played from the beginning of time. So anything that you decide is therefore okay with God. This is very true. So rather than even commune, the idea of getting God's attention would be done by making a decision, and there the power is back in you. And that is the point here, because we are all God. There is no question about that. There's huge amount of doubt on the planet, but there is certainly no question that we are indeed that being. And so this sort of thing is spoken of. And Mary and I do a great deal of work. For example, tomorrow we're doing the opening of the third eye ceremony. And while it is true your third eye is opening very well, such an event would probably serve you quite well, just that it works that way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Shelley.
Okay, thank
great.
you. All right.
Great, thank you. It was a great conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. And when you look at things as being part of you, and I have done that, where I've just sent love. It wasn't like praying on their behalf or anything, because I do get your point of saying, if I'm praying for them to be good, there's always that subtext of that I believe that there's something wrong with them, and that's why they're harming me, or they're making me angry. So if we just assume they're perfect and I called them in my own perfection, then hey.
Yeah, and it's the latest that I've heard, or wherever that came from, I'm not certain exactly, because so much information flies through the head once we get to
Thank you for showing me what I used to be like.
That's another one. Yeah. And you love someone because of what they are, rather than in spite of.
Right.
And that's a very important a piece of the puzzle also. Right. And once it's okay that the darkest among us just turn out to be, as in your dream of the violet sea, which you can tell if you want, but the darkest among us turn out to be
Let me tell that, because it's probably been
Please.
about a year since I told it. I had a really powerful dream, which I get a lot of my teaching through my dreams. And in the dream, I was being taken to what was called the Violet Sea, and I was very excited. It was supposed to be this divine, beautiful place. And I went through many modes of transportation, and I finally end up in this sea, and I'm floating, and I have dolphins and mermaids and angels all around me. And I looked at the water, and I realized it looked black, and I thought I had been tricked, and I had that shock of fear. And I turned to a mermaid that was next to me, and I said, "Oh, I think I've been tricked. This looks like the Black Sea, not the Violet Sea." And she takes a mason jar and she fills it with water and she holds it up to the light, and it's this deep purple, this deep violet. And she goes, "All blackness is concentrated divinity. Just shine more light on it. That's all you have to do." And so I realized that whatever, no matter how dark it looked, I shine the light or enlightenment of my consciousness upon it, and it will immediately transform. That's why I do not believe that there are demons and devils, because when you shine your light of understanding and love upon it, the illusion, like that card I held up earlier, dissolves all things away, and you see it for what it really is, which is love underneath everything.
There's a very powerful code, because this story, every time you tell it, you say a mason.
I know.
The masons. Yeah, excellent code. Yeah.
A mason jar. Like,
right.
Yeah, because, you know, sometimes people have talked about the dark and the light versions of that. So even in the dark, what we call of that is there's light.
Yeah. So the darkest wizards I've ever been up against in my life, I must put on the list of the greatest teachers that I've ever had.
Absolutely.
Have been the darkest ones that have ever come forth towards me or to me. So there it is. You're free. That's the deal. And to sustain this, to keep it, to think of this every day, is to give up a good deal of the vocabulary that we think in. And this is important, that we change the vocabulary we think in, because there are a lot of obsolete words. The new book is coming out in December of the next level deeper, so to speak, of the language codes. Ought to be out in December, and we'll of course be announcing it on the show, although it's possible to pre-order it through Amazon at the moment.
Yes.
So that's another one, and then I've started the next one, but go ahead, I'll talk about that on another show.
Okay. Whatever you'd like.
Yeah.
I like, and I heard this many years ago, and I've heard it several times since, but this, every morning when you get up out of bed, you say, "Thank you, God, for showing me how much you love me." Now, yes, we are all one, and it's me showing me how much I love me, but on our path to really fully understanding the interconnectedness of all things, we do tend to say, okay, I'm going to separate, and I'm going to have this image of God or this divine thing that I can love, and not have all this stuff about me which I dislike, so I can love it unconditionally. So by saying, "Thank you, universe, for showing me how much you love me today," instead of having that chatter that goes on like, "Oh, it's just my luck, it's all," you know, this stuff that we're inclined to do, you would be amazed at how the world responds to that, and these beautiful things start unfolding. So wake up tomorrow and just say, "Thank you, universe, for showing me in everything that I do today how much I am loved unconditionally and supported." And watch what happens, because we grow what we place our attention on. You were talking about earlier being attached to outcome. The reason that if you are afraid of not getting that new job, since energy follows where our attention is placed, since manifestation follows that route, you're going to manifest what you're fearing more than what you're focusing on. So just picture getting the job, and don't even tangle with not getting the job. Just focus on getting it and let it go.
Yeah, it's amazing how paralytic our belief system can be. You know, and that's what they do in what I understand to be the corporate world. They get everyone frightened that you won't be able to find another job.
Yes,
not
they do.
At your age. And let's deal with the age thing, because that's a very important one. If you are a younger person and you're saying, now when I was younger, when I was 21, there was a very common, when I was 18, there was very common the expression, "Never trust anyone over 30. And our next generation is up to that very same thing again. Which I understand, because I went through it that way at that time. Now let me say to those who are in the younger generation, as though there were such a thing out there, I believe it's very obvious that you are, let's say you're 21. Well, you would agree with me that you are better in every way than a 14-year-old, yes? Absolutely. Let's say you're 27. You would say, well, you're better really in every way than a 21-year-old, yes? Well, let's say you're 35. Well, you would say you're better in every way than a 27-year-old, yes? Well, pick some numbers, because the older you get, the better you get, and that's the way it works. Now, if you're young and you're uncomfortable with old people, it's really that you are uncomfortable with your memory of your parents, not the older person, because we are all we just are. We're not really older than young or younger. In the new book, I define an adult as anyone who's 20 years older than you, which is meant to be as humor, but is nonetheless true. So when you're 20 years older than you are now, you can look back and see how good you are when you're 45 or 65 or 85 or 105.
But you know, everything you're saying is talking about looking back or looking forward, and it's so talking about tonight's the cards, how they kept coming up of living in the moment and just being right here.
Yeah.
And if you look at your husband throwing socks on the floor as if this is the 500,000th time I've picked up the socks, you're going to have that drain on your energy. If you look at it as the first time, then you just pick up the socks, and that's the end of it.
Yes.
So treat each other as if you just met everyone, and let them change. Let them be a new person to you in each moment. Or the people in your life can't change. The circumstances can't change. We're down to our last minute, and I would like to mention that our show can be viewed on the internet at telepathictv.com, and it is actually a different show than this one, so you could even tune it in tonight and get a different show. And if you'd like to be in the studio audience, we're here in Arlington, right on Wilson Boulevard. You can join us the 2nd and 4th Fridays of the month. We'd love to have you.
We'd love to have you in the audience, and it's quite a different experience to see this live. Live, not live on TV, live in reality. And in the 30 seconds we have left, let us thank you for choosing to go through the door.
Yeah. It was our honor to bring you this, and please join us again. Every Friday, we are on every Friday, and if this is a recorded show, you can call us at the home number.
That's a very good
We'd still love to talk to you. Believe it or not, most of the time we are near the phone. So.